Hello and welcome to this week's Wednesday Wisdom. My name is JB Hilliard, and these are short video snippets designed to answer questions you may have about estate planning or probate, or maybe there are other legal concerns that may be impacting your household. And for this week, I've gotten this particular question a lot here lately in the last several months, and that is if I have a trust, if I create a trust, do I still need to do a will? And of course, every situation, as far as I'm concerned, every situation is looked at independently to look at the bigger picture and what your goals and objectives are and the family dynamics and what it is you're actually trying to accomplish by these estate planning tools. But generally speaking, I would say yes. And I say that for just a couple major reasons. One primarily is that a lot of times people create this trust document, this trust agreement package. They create the documentation, they give it a name, they list all these specific provisions for the trustee to do or not do, and what the beneficiaries are going to ultimately receive. But the problem is that wonderfully drafted trust agreement just sits there and then nothing else happens. It's not a magical pill that says, poof, everything is in a trust now. No, you have to fund the trust. And by funding a trust, that's when you're actually transferring property out of your name, in some situations, out of your name or out of an individual's name into the name of the trustee of that trust. And so that's kind of the first issue, or potentially the first issue, that the assets that you ultimately plan to give to your beneficiaries down the road are never transferred to the trust. So if they're still in your individual name, guess what? When you pass away, your estate needs to be probated. Those assets need to go through the probate process. And so a will helps facilitate that process in identifying your executor, and then again, those provisions or that authority you want your executor to have. That's the first problem. The second problem is initially people fund their trust. And let's talk about the primary asset being a house, my residential home. And so I transfer that property into the trust when I create the trust documentation. Okay, great. But down the road, I buy another property. Maybe I forget to transfer that new property into the trust. And so that prevents that asset from being a non-probate asset to now having to be probated and go through the probate process. And so when people hear, oh, if I have a trust, that completely avoids probate. No, that is such a misclassification of a trust, in speaking in general terms. A trust in and of itself does not prevent probate from happening. There still may be a need to probate your estate, to go through that probate process for your estate. Again, there may be assets that aren't in the trust, haven't been transferred under the trust, or there may be things that come in or happen after you pass away, it just left my brain. I just had a brain fart, as we used to say. A settlement, a lawsuit settlement, maybe a negligence case or a wrongful death. That's what I was trying to think of. A wrongful death suit that your family has pursued, and they get some settlement or they win the lawsuit. So those funds are going to come in after the fact. That will be part of your estate assets. And so that will have to go through probate. So a trust does not avoid probate altogether. A trust helps facilitate the transfer of assets that are in the trust, and those assets that are in the trust don't have to be probated. But if you've forgotten something, or if something came in later that you neglected to transfer into the trust, then yes, your estate will still need to be probated, and so thus the need for a will to kind of catch all of those things that perhaps weren't part of the trust either originally or down the road. So with that said, short and sweet, I hope that was helpful. We'll talk more about trust and wills in later videos. But for now, as always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.